The gerbils are working here. There we go. Have a great meeting, guys.
Thank you.
And if you need anything, don't hesitate to ask me. I'm right here.
Okay, thank you, Daryl.
Good afternoon. Thank you for attending today's community engagement meeting on elected council's agreement with Broccolini Construction Limited. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to some members of our consultation and accommodation process team, or CAP team for short. Lonnie?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Lonnie Bomberry, and I'm the Director of Land Resources Department for the Six Nations Elected Council.
Taylor?
Good afternoon. I'm Taylor Hill. I'm Assistant Director at Lands and Resources for Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council.
Lauren J?
Good afternoon. My name is Lauren Jones. I am the manager of the Six Nations Wildlife and Stewardship Office.
Lauren V?
Hey everyone, my name is Lauren Vanderlingen. I am the assistant at the Wildlife and Stewardship Office.
Dalen?
Hi, my name is Dalen G. I'm a land use officer for elected council.
And I'm Peter Graham, consultation supervisor for elected council. We have a short agenda for you today. I'm going to give a brief history and overview of the project and proposed agreement. Then the Laurens will walk you through environmental information about the site, and Taylor will introduce our community engagement survey. Afterwards, Dalen will monitor the chat for any questions and relay them to team members who will do their best to answer. We'll conclude by providing you with information about future engagement meetings. So for the very basics, on October 23rd, 2023, Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council voted to approve an agreement with Broccolini Construction Limited, subject to community engagement. The company is building a warehouse on Old Mill Road in Cambridge, an area covered by both the Haldeman Treaty and the Fort Albany Nanfan Treaty. The agreement between the company and council recognizes that developers should accommodate Six Nations of the Grand River for structures built on its traditional lands and treaty territory. To that end, the company has agreed to a 10-to-1 tree replacement ratio, long-term protection of a wetland, and a payment of $250,000 to Six Nations of the Grand River. Now, I'd like to give you a sense of some of the context leading up to the agreement. On April 6, 2021, Cambridge City Council passed a resolution requesting a ministerial zoning order, or MZO for short, and I'll use that MZO acronym going forward, for a proposed warehouse by Broccolini Construction Limited. It was subsequently confirmed that Amazon would be the warehouse's sole tenant. The land itself was previously zoned for a business park, and that's the land that was incorporated in this MZO order. MZOs are issued by the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing to fast-track development by avoiding potential delays and obstacles in the municipal planning process. The CAP team isn't too keen on MZOs, to put it mildly. Upon learning of this MZO request, the CAP team tried to arrange a meeting with the City of Cambridge, but Cambridge argued that municipalities don't have a duty to consult on MZO requests and refused to meet. And an MZO was issued on August 27th, 2021. The CAP team argued correctly that the MZO process does not eliminate the duty to consult. But Cambridge continued to drag its feet when it came to setting up meetings or making project documents available to our team. On November 21st, 2021, Chief Hill sent a letter to the minister urging Cambridge to come to the table. And the CAP team met with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing to advocate for our position. After those efforts, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing threatened to revoke the MZO if Cambridge didn't start consulting First Nations. While problems persisted with Cambridge, Broccolini agreed to do the right thing and consult with the CAP team about the project. The CAP team wanted to obtain both environmental and financial accommodations for the property and succeeded in doing so per the agreement reached with the company. In the end, we were pleased both with the agreements and the results of the process. From troubled beginning, the CAP team was pleased to see Broccolini and later Cambridge reverse course and take consultation seriously. The relationship with Cambridge continues to grow, and Broccolini now regularly meets with the CAP team about its other developments on the Holloman tract. Now I'd like to turn it to the Laurens to comment on environmental aspects to the project.
Yeah, thank you. So we were primarily responsible for reviewing the environmental documents that were provided to us by Broccolini. And I guess I'll just go through the general FAQs that was provided in the mail outs. Generally speaking, the site prior to construction consisted mostly of agricultural fields. The whole lot is about 25 hectares in area and included some small buildings that included like an old barn, an old house, and a trailer as well. Within the general area, but not within the project area that is generally anticipated to be impacted by this development, there is the Blair Swamp. There's also the provincially significant wetland to the northwest of the site, as well as within the general vicinity and area of natural scientific interest and the Blair Swamp. The major concern for us from an environmental perspective was to ensure that significant wetland was unimpacted. Through consultation, we were actually able to secure a 30-meter buffer to ensure that wetland was not impacted in any way. Multiple assessments took place for the entire site, including in 2000, 2011, 2021, and then RARE also did their own separate assessment in 2022. This area is generally going to be impacted by as a product of where it is. The 401 highway is quite close. And so there is inherently, those issues of pollution and dumping occasionally, and Broccolini has taken steps to remove and do mitigative action in that respect. So the wetlands will be under the care of RARE, who is a charitable research reserve, and they currently maintain 1,200 acres within the Cambridge and Kitchener area. They simply have the capacity and expertise to ensure that this provincially significant wetland is maintained for future use, and Six Nations members will have the opportunity to access this area should they wish to do so. General investigations included investigations for birds, mammals, herpetofauna, so reptiles and amphibians, in addition to plants. Generally speaking, there was only a few regionally significant species, including black walnut and a few ash species, with the whole provincially significant wetland area mostly being composed of ash. Through consultation with the CAP team, Broccolini has agreed to a 10-to-1 tree replacement ratio for any trees that were taken down, which was not very many, since that provincially significant wetland is going to be maintained. For reference, CAP team does ask for a 10-to-1 tree replacement ratio regardless of size. Currently, the Cambridge standard is only a 2-to-1 tree replacement ratio. In addition to that, there was plenty of invasive species that were found within the area, and many of those species are in the process of being removed as a part of this consultation as well. So that includes buckthorn and garlic mustard. Birds that were observed, nothing really too much of note. One thing I should note was the presence of barn swallows within the existing barn structures, which again was mitigated for with respect to the legislation at the time. Since then, barn swallows have actually been downgraded to a species of special concern and thus are no longer required for mitigation, but we got that mitigation anyway, which is very good. No bats were observed during exit surveys of the structures. However, there was some evidence of beavers in the wetland. And then in terms of surface and groundwater, through consultation, we actually were able to reduce the size of the Broccolini parking lot, which was very good. And overall, according to the hydrological reports, very few impacts are expected for the wetland, as most of the water movement tends to be in the northeasterly direction. I hope I got everything. Please let me know if I forgot anything. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Taylor, can you introduce the community to the survey?
Yes, I'm gonna see if I can share my screen. So in the package that was mailed out, the survey's on the back of one of the pages. It's also available to be emailed at our office or at the in-person event. If you fill it out, there is a $10 gift card either to Tim Hortons or the gift card that's good for Burger Barn and Petro Plus. There's four questions and then a space for any comments that you want to do. They'll all be recorded into a report that is then shared with council.
Thank you very much, Taylor. Dalen, are there any questions at this time?
At this point, no, there's nothing.
I'll just take this time to mention some future engagements we have planned about this project. So we are having another Facebook live stream on Friday, January the 12th at noon. So please follow Six Nations Elected Council Media for more information. Another confirmed date we have is an in-person meeting. It's Wednesday, January the 24th at 5 p.m. and it's located at the Gathering Place, 2593 Chiefswood Road. Dinner will be provided to everyone. We're also planning an additional in-person engagements and another in virtual engagement. We don't have dates yet, but stay tuned to Elected Council social media and also watch Two Row Times and Turtle Island News. Will have advertisements in there for future events. Is there been any questions now, Dalen?
Nope, nothing yet still.
So would you like to introduce yourself? You missed introductions.
Yeah, we've just been joined by the founder of our department, Lands and Resources, Phil Montier. Care to say hello in case if there's anyone watching?
Oh, if there's anyone watching, say go Phil Montour. I'm a member of the CAP team as well as actively involved in litigation against the two crowns. Thank you.
So if there's an agreement, I propose we'll maybe spend a couple minutes awkwardly staring at each other just to see if some questions come up. And if not, we'll conclude.
I'll be honest, there's 5 people on the live stream and I'm one of them.
Yeah, the live stream will also be available after this, so it can be watched at any time. And then, as Peter said, there's additional engagements happening. And on the mail out was an email and a phone number where you can send any questions, comments.
Yeah, that's a good point, Taylor. If you're watching this now or later, have any questions, please get in touch with us at the Lands and Resources Department. We can be reached at 519-753-0665 or email LRCS, that's Laura, Rachel, Cindy, Sandy at sixnations.ca. Again, that's LRCS at sixnations.ca.
Peter, I'm just gonna put your email in the comments. That's just probably easier.
Thanks, Dalen.
I guess I would just note that archaeology was done, and that Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council did have monitors present at different times during the construction.
Dalen, I'm guessing it's the status quo for lack of questions.
Actually, no, we do have one, but it's not really a question. It's more of a comment. The comment is just saying 4 p.m. on Thursdays is usually a time when people are getting off work, so they sometimes don't have time to join.
Yeah, that is a good point. We'll perhaps have to have discussions to see whether, you know, maybe for the third virtual meeting, if it can be later. As mentioned, the in-person on January 24th is at 5 o'clock, and as I say, we don't have the second in-person lined up, but that will also be at 5 o'clock. Thank you very much for mentioning that, and we'll discuss, see if we can get as I say, that third virtual meeting to be later on, perhaps early evening. So if there's nothing else, I suggest we end the live stream this evening. Really hope to see some of you either at the virtual on January 12th at noon, or again that in person on January 24th, 5 o'clock at the gathering place with dinner provided. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we look forward to speaking with you in the future. Are you able to end the stream, Daryl?
Well, we did just get another comment too, so if you can't end the stream, that's fine. Another comment is recommending that there be a lunch and learn opportunities and perhaps explain the CAP process for community members. I think there's a knowledge gap.
Yeah, that's another excellent suggestion. We'll discuss about lunch, and certainly great idea. Be good to have an opportunity to discuss a bit more of what the CAP team does, its process more generally, instead of this project. So as I say, I can't commit to a particular lunch and learn, but we will take more opportunities at the future engagement to talk about the CAP team's general, what it does, how it does it, that sort of thing.
We do also have Community Awareness Week too, where people do come in and we do explain what we do as the CAP team.
It's months now, it's Community Awareness Month.
Another comment is I recommend the engagement events be highly advertised. So I guess I'll just speak on that. This was our first one, and this is why this time we're having a bunch of engagement events. So that way, if you can't make it to one, you can make it to another one. And we're also doing them at different times. So that's kind of the whole idea of that.
Yeah, but we also acknowledge, I mean, there should have been a bit more publicity prior to that live stream, and we'll certainly commit to ensuring there's more advance warning for our future meetings.
Yeah, they were on a mail out, on the radio, and the newspapers, on the social media.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any more comments coming in.
Okay. Daryl, can you end the live stream? And I know you're modest in number, but thank you everyone for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.